Morning guys, how are we today? Right, this isn't going to be another one of my taste and spicy videos. I need to let my digestive system calm down a bit. We'll get straight into this one. Right, how has 2020 been for you? Not good, is it? We all know why. In particular for me, it's not been good, or I think for a lot of people with anxiety. Now, when all this coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic started way back at the start of the year, there was all these, don't worry, it will never get to us. It's just like the common cold and all this. But with my anxiety, I was thinking, no, I'm going to monitor this. Now, I stumbled across an app because I was just doing a bit of research. I was thinking, right, let me just see if I can get some statistics up. So I Googled something and I managed to find this website. It's Worldometers.info, and today's video I'm going to show you about it. It shows you everything you need to know about anything to do with COVID-19 across the globe, and I go on this website every day now just to check on the statistics. So today's video is basically me just going to introduce you to Worldometer if you're not familiar with it. If you've got anxiety issues like me, it's handy to know. If you're interested in statistics, it's also handy. Or if you just generally want to know what's going on in the world regards COVID-19. So let's get right straight into this video. Watch this. Let's just quickly show you what this website does. Apart from giving you adverts, which you can click off. So it gives you the current live statistics for COVID-19. So cases in the world, 8.4 million. Total deaths, 451,000. Total recovered, 4.4 million. Total recovered, now that's a statistic you need to take on board because that is very positive. Active cases, just over 3.5 million, and only 98% of that in the blue are mild, and only 2% there in the red are critical. You can show that in a graph if you choose to. Closed cases, just under 5 million cases have had an outcome, either a death or a recovery. And 9% of those have sadly died. Let's go through. Now, this is my favourite part. This is the bit I check on a regular basis, is the league table, if you will. Now, that is the current league table as it stands as of now. So, if you see USA have reported 383 new cases, Russia have reported that. I'm going to put a graphic next to it of one of the earlier graphics of when I first started looking at the Worldometer. If you look up there, the difference, not just in numbers, but positions. You see China on there. China aren't on there anymore. They're not on the top 10. China, where the outbreak started in Wuhan, is there in 19th place. Another one you'll see on that graphic is the Diamond Princess cruise ship. I'll scroll down because I know where that is. If you look at there you go, 135th place on the league table now. Obviously, no more new cases. Just finished at 712 cases and 13 deaths. So we'll go back up. Now, what I have to say and stress is, when this all started, Europe's countries were the epicenter in Europe was Italy. But Italy's new figures, no one reported today, but you can change that by clicking yesterday. Let's have a look what Italy reported yesterday for figures. Only 328 cases, 43 new deaths. But on the top there, you can do anything. New cases, total deaths, new deaths, total recovered, active cases, all the way along to tests and actual populations of the country themselves. But look at yesterday's for Brazil and USA. 26,000 new cases in the USA, and for every 1 million people they're testing 79,000, which is quite good. Not as good as Russia's. Russia's got less than half the population of the US, but they're doing 107,000 tests per 100 million people. But look at India's in fourth and Brazil's in second. Massive, well, especially India, huge population, 1.3 billion people in India roughly, and only 4.4 thousand tests per 1 million people. Now, my theory is, because 3 or 4 weeks ago, Brazil and India were anywhere near the top 5. They were down out the top 10, but they've crept up. as well as the countries in the southern hemisphere, they're all starting to creep up. Look at Peru there in 7th place. Chile, Mexico, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they're all creeping up. Now my prediction is in 5 weeks time you won't see that they will all be in the top 5. It'll be USA, Brazil, India, Peru, Chile, Mexico, Pakistan, Bangladesh. That'll be the sort of top 5, top 6. All the countries in Europe will slowly start moving down the table, pretty much the same as China. Now, with this website, you can just click if you want to look at this league table and make out correlations of this huge table, because it goes all the way down to 100. Hold on, it's more than that actually. 215 there. The countries you see in the green, there's a graph to highlight what it is. All cases have recovered from the infection. So the ones that are highlighted in green here have had countries that have had cases but absolutely 0 deaths. The countries in the grey are countries that have had cases but haven't reported any cases recently. So they're doing well. But I'm assuming it's because these countries have got low populations is the reason why their cases aren't going to go a lot higher. But scroll back up and go back to my theory of the southern hemisphere countries are going to play catch up. Right, so if you want to click on a particular country and look at their individual details of how their cases, when they started and so on and so forth. So we'll start with China for a start, because obviously that's where the outbreak started, in Wuhan. So click on China and then you can see exactly their figures. Get rid of the advert. So total cases 83,000, really low death rate, loads recovered. Current active cases only 265, and only 3% of those are critical, and this is where the outbreak started. Closed cases and so on. Let's have a look at the graphs. Look at that, really nice early peak, poof, straight up, and then since February the 20th, near the end of February, it's completely peaked off and it's leveled off now. That's China, where the outbreak started. We'll scroll back and we'll try some more countries. Let's have a look at Italy, the epicenter of Europe when it started. Scroll back to the league table. If you want to look at a particular country though, without scrolling through the league table, there is a search bar there. You can click on that. Let's have a look at Italy's, as I said, the epicenter of the outbreak in Europe. Let's see how their graphs are looking. So going back 3 months, Italy was on its knees. The hospitals couldn't keep up with it. I was watching the news. It was so depressing. I felt so sorry for Italy, how they were going. I mean, a lot of the news said that Italy was like the canary in the cage going into the mine. Like, whatever happened in Italy, we'll let that happen to them first, and what will be, and ours will be similar sort of scenario. So at the moment, Italy's current cases they've had, in total, 237,000, 34,000 deaths, 179,000 recovered. Currently infected 23,000, but only one. This is the key. That only 1% of those is critical. Now that's great news for Italy, considering where they were at 3 months ago. Let's have a look at their graph. So as opposed to China's, which is a very high projection of cases, Italy's is more of a slow curve, but their curve started all the way back in, what date is that? Start of March, and 2.5 months later, it's slow. It's now starting to level off, which is great news for Italy. I know Spain's is very similar. But this is my theory. And I said, I cannot stress enough how good this website is if you're into statistics or you have a particular interest in COVID-19 and want to know what's going on in the world. Now, my two theories is proven in the league table, where Brazil and India were 4, 5, 6 weeks ago to where they are now. These Southern Hemisphere countries are now, the reason why they're starting to come up, I have no idea. I know they're not testing very much. That's definitely could be one theory why they're coming up, but maybe poorer quality of life, I don't know. So which one have we clicked on here? India's, right. So 1.3 billion people live in India. 368,000 cases, 12,000 deaths, recovered 194. Let's have a look at their, so it's a very late peak. Very late start, so 18,000 cases April 20th, and that is slowly rising up quite quickly actually. Not as quick as China's, but China's leveled off nice and early. That's India's. Let's have a look. Again, this is the active cases. It's going up just like the graph of cases. It's crazy. We'll go to Brazil. Again, if you want to search Brazil, you can type it in the search engine, but we know it's number 2 on the league. So let's have a quick look at Brazil. Click on Brazil. Let's have a look at their graphs. It has to be low test levels. Nearly 1 million cases in Brazil. 46,000 deaths, 503,000 recovered. Current cases, so only 2% are critical condition out of their 410,000 cases. It's not too bad, but theirs is identical to India more or less. A late start and then they're peaking up. But those numbers are growing on a rapid, so it wouldn't surprise me if this goes up even higher quicker. Okay. Active cases, but loads of peaks and troughs there in the active cases, so they go up, down, up, down, up, down. Why that is, I have no idea. Total deaths, more or less the same as the cases. We'll go back to another one. Right, because of my theory with the Southern Hemisphere, it sort of goes out the window just slightly, because who's Brazil's neighbours? Brazil's neighbours are Argentina. And their cases are completely different to Brazil. So Brazil have got 960,000 cases. They've had 960,000 cases. Scroll down. Argentina, their neighbours, only 35,000 cases. Why are Brazil and their neighbours Argentina completely different? I thought they would have been very similar with figures as well as graphs and stuff like that. So let's have a look. So it's very low to start with, creeping up. It is, to be fair, Argentina's is creeping actually. Does that mean Argentina will put in 2 months' time? Argentina's going to have some really high figures. Could be actually, looking at that graph. And that's the beauty of this website. You can just check out loads of stuff. But a country that is in the Southern Hemisphere, and I've been watching their cases for a long time, and they are definitely 100% in the Southern Hemisphere, is a country, New Zealand. Let's have a look at New Zealand. Scroll through the league table till I find it. I know their cases are reasonably low. Where are you, New Zealand? Right, there we are, New Zealand. So they've been going along, they've had coronavirus cases since when? Let's have a look. The graphs will tell me all I need to know. I cannot stress enough how good this app is if you're into statistics or have a particular interest in COVID-19. Look at that. Total cases, right? So cases start back at February the 15th. So you fast forward just over a month to March the 21st. Just over a month, their cases start to rise. So a month, you started at 0 cases. Within a month, they've had 52 cases. Fast forward March 20th to April 13th. April 18th, so still less than a month. In less than a month, their cases jumped. But look at that. In the last, from what date? April 18th to, what's everything? 2 months. In the last 2 months, look, those cases. What are they doing differently there? What are New Zealand doing differently to the rest of the world? Because that if in terms of graphs and curves regards cases, that is amazing. And to emphasize the point, we'll go to active cases. Look at that peak on the active cases. The highest peak they had was 900, I think, in 927 on. That was the most cases they've had all the way back down to today. Active, currently infected, 2 people. What the question I need to pose is, what are New Zealand doing differently to other countries? Because if the rest of the world's countries were like that, this would be over very soon, this COVID-19. So that is a little insight into the website Worldometer. I suggest, like I said, if you're into statistics, particularly interested in COVID-19, you have family abroad you want to check on, just as I said, type the country's name into the search engine. It'll bring up all the statistics you need to know. Just before I go, if you look in the top right, the 3 bars, Worldometer also does population statistics, current population, so on and so forth. Also does populations by year, so you can go back to the past. So look, world populations from 5000 BC up into 2017. and it also does projections for the future, all the way up to 2100. It does all that. So I can't stress enough, this app is very handy if you're into statistics, particularly interested in COVID-19, or if you've missed the news. It's handy to check to see how countries are getting on. There you go, guys. That's Worldometer. I hope you enjoyed the little insight into it. If you've never seen it before, as I said, it can do so much. So if you're interested in COVID-19, you're wondering how the world's getting on with the pandemic, you're a bit anxious, how's it all faring out? How's it going to play out? Which countries are in trouble? Which countries are now coming through the other side of it? It tells you everything you need to know. If you want to know what the populations of a certain country is going to be like in 2056, it can do that for you too. So please do check it out if you haven't already. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you again soon. And remember, stay safe. All right.